Hello and welcome back to Get Up and Game. My name is Josh, and in this video I'm going to be starting the Entropic Ascension campaign for Marvel Champions. This was one of the 5 campaign contest winners from the recent campaign contest Fantasy Flight Games put on. And I'm going to be taking Wasp through this campaign. This works out very nicely for me because I've been wanting to do a series with Wasp anyway. This campaign is 4 scenarios and I plan to play her in all 4 aspects. Wasp has been one of my favorite heroes for a really long time, but I know she's not among the community's favorites generally. And I've always wanted to take an opportunity to show her off and try to show that she can be really fun in solo. She's really more of a multiplayer hero. She works much better when there's more players at the table. But I've enjoyed her greatly in solo for a really long time, mostly because I find the deck building for her very interesting in all 4 aspects. Now I had an opportunity recently to show her off as I played her in one of my 12 plays of Christmas, but unfortunately, we ran into a very angry Taskmaster who made us look pretty bad. So that didn't turn out to be the Wasp showcase I hoped it would be. So I'm going to take another crack at her here in this campaign. Now I've been in contact with the author of this campaign, G.I.R.L, and he told me not to read ahead, so I have not. So beyond the first villain, I don't know what's going to happen in this campaign. I don't know what to expect. So I've just built pretty much my favorite Wasp deck to start the whole thing off. And hopefully it works well for what we're going up against. Now, I don't think I've ever actually completed an entire campaign in Marvel Champions. I think I've started all of them at one time or another, but I've never seen any of them through to the end. I just usually feel like moving on to something else before I get around to finishing it. So I'm really excited to actually play a campaign through to completion. So let's go ahead and take a look at what this campaign wants from us. So this is Entropic Ascension from G.I.R.L. And it kind of gives you a list of everything that you need to own. The whole thing is very professionally done. Fantasy Flight was very kind to produce these so that they look just like the campaign booklets that you get in the actual campaign expansions. And you can print these off of the website. If you go to the player resources section of the Marvel Champions page, you can find all 5 of the campaigns. So this tells you what you're going to need to own and the cards that aren't available to be used in decks because they're necessary for the campaign. And then here you can see that it's going to be using the reputation track from Sinister Motives because the story of this campaign is essentially a sequel to Sinister Motives. So I thought that was a pretty cool idea. So this kind of explains how everything works. I'm not going to read everything. We're just going to get into it here very soon. This tells you how to do the expert campaign rules, which are pretty similar to how the normal campaigns run. Now, I'm not going to be playing on the expert campaign because I want to be able to change my deck from scenario to scenario. So we'll just be playing the standard campaign rules, so I won't have to worry about persistent damage, and I'll be allowed to change my deck. And then finally, we're going to take a look at who the first scenario is. And can you believe it? It's Taskmaster himself. Now, I was always going to play Wasp when I planned on doing this campaign, but I did not know that Taskmaster was going to be the first scenario, and I could not be happier because it is revenge time for how bad he made Wasp look in December. He is going down. All right, I'm just going to read the story, and then we're going to get started. Tension holds New York City in a precarious balance. After Venom Goblin's attempted rampage, crime seems to have lessened. However, when it raises its head, it is quick, decisive, and efficient. To complicate matters, many of your street-level contacts have gone missing, leaving these criminal quick strikes all the more effective as there is less opposition involved. S.H.I.E.L.D. Intel has confirmed who's capturing and holding your allies, Taskmaster. Despite operating with his own elite Hydra squad, it appears Taskmaster's services have been purchased from a private bidder. S.H.I.E.L.D. has offered some initial support, but they are ill-equipped to handle the criminal underworld. As you go to rescue your friends and make your move against Taskmaster, chaos erupts across the city. It's as if somebody knew you were coming. You can't handle everything. What do you choose? So now, we can either choose investigative journalism. With the rise of these strategic crime waves, journalists from various media outlets have begun investigations to figure out who is pulling the strings. Tombstone is now tailing the journalists to encourage them to stop their quest to uncover the truth. You're caught in the middle of trying to protect the reporters while rescuing your allies. If you choose this option, add the running interference encounter set to the encounter deck. Or we can choose B, Blackout. Electro is attacking the city's power grid, draining power into a special device. If the extra electricity isn't for him, what could it be for? If you choose to handle this threat, add the Power Drain Encounter set to the encounter deck. So just looking at these two and knowing how my deck works, I am going to choose Blackout. We're going to bring in Electro because I don't think my deck will be very fair to Tombstone. We're going to be spending a lot of time in Alter Ego with this deck. And a lot of his cards you have to go to Alter Ego to get rid of anyway, and I think that'll make it a little bit too easy. So we're going to pick Electro so that it should provide more of a challenge. So let me grab some of the cards that we know we need and we'll get started. So first off, we're going to need Taskmaster, so I've got him, and of course he comes with the Hydra Patrol. So we've gone ahead and grabbed that. Get the Standard and Expert encounter sets. I'm going to play this one on Expert because this deck should be able to handle it. But like I said, Wasp isn't necessarily a powerhouse in solo. I like her a lot. I think she's fun, but I don't think she's overly powerful in solo. So I won't necessarily play every scenario in Expert. I just want to have fun with this, and we need to win in order to progress in the campaign. So I'm not looking to make things super hard on myself. I just want to have a good time. But I do enjoy playing Expert when I think it's appropriate for the hero that I'm using. So we're going to try this one on Expert anyway. And then I'll just decide as each scenario presents itself. So we've got Taskmaster ready, and of course the captive heroes, which I'm pretty sure these are our friends that we're meant to be rescuing for the story. Now I also need the Power Drain Modular encounter set. So we've got that right here. We've got Electro, and this one deals a lot of indirect damage to you, so being an Alter Ego is not going to protect us from that. So that should be a little more fair. And then, so when you set up a scenario for campaign mode, you actually have to do the entire regular game setup, and then you do the campaign instructions. So I'm going to go ahead and set up the game as normal, and then we'll read the rest of the campaign instructions. All right, I've just about got the regular setup done. The last thing we need to do for the villain setup is, since we're playing Taskmaster on Expert, we do need to deal ourselves an encounter card. So we'll shuffle and do that. And now we can shuffle in Wasp's Obligation. So we have the Hunting Down Heroes main scheme with 1 threat starting on it, and then Taskmaster always starts with a Hydra Patrol side scheme in play with a Crisis and 2 threat on it. And now I just quickly want to go over the deck that I built. The reason I want to show Nadia off in 4 videos is because I think she really has 4 different ways to build her, because she just has so many different powers. She has her Alter Ego ability that allows her to shuffle in 2 cards with a mental resource back into her deck, which is just incredibly useful and so fun. But then she has her Tiny form that does extra damage when you defeat minions in side schemes. She also has her Giant form that allows you to spread out your basic attack and basic thwart, which can be very, very useful. And then she's also a flipping hero, so that's just another element of how you can build decks for her. So I plan on building a deck. This one is going to really showcase the Alter Ego ability. Surely you can use that, no matter how you build your deck, you're going to want to use that, and I will. But this one takes particular advantage of her Alter Ego ability. I'm going to build a deck that focuses on her Tiny form, one that focuses on her Giant form, and then one that focuses on her as a flipping hero. So we're going to see all 4 of the major elements of Wasp over the course of this series. So for this one that focuses on her Alter Ego ability, I'm going to be playing in Leadership, which this is actually my very favorite way to play Wasp. I've played these kinds of decks with her so many times. And now that there's some newer cards out that work really, really well for her, it's just getting more and more fun. So this is going to be a heavy ally deck, which is just a way I really enjoy playing the game. We're going to have Moon Girl because Nadia is a genius, Ironheart, Nick Fury. So we're really leaning hard into card draw, because one big downside of Wasp is her economy is pretty terrible. She has a decently expensive kit, and she has no built-in resources to help pay for anything. So it'll be nice to be able to play these allies to draw cards, and they all have the mental resource. So I can shuffle these back into the deck and keep playing them over and over and over again, which is incredibly fun to do. In fact, almost every card I put in here has the mental resource, so I should always have really good targets for her special ability. And we have Professor X here for Confused, because like I said, we're hoping to spend most of the game in Alter Ego. I'm not committing to staying in Alter Ego the whole time. It's not necessarily that kind of deck. I can certainly go to Hero if I want to do some things, but I should be able to stay in Alter Ego a lot. And the Professor with his Confused is really going to help with that. And since we're staying in Alter Ego so much, every single card I'm putting in the deck can be played from Alter Ego. So we actually probably won't be playing a lot of Wasp's events. If we can help it, we'll just be playing the cards that I brought. Continuing with the events, Maria Hill for more card draw. Beast is just going to help us recycle our resources and get those out over and over again. And then Goliath is kind of our finisher. You know, since he can generate a power to attack for +4, so he's going to be attacking for 5. He has the mental trait. I can hit with him, shuffle him back in, hit with him again, and I have command teams in here to hopefully get a couple uses out of him. Not to mention the Triskelion to allow me to have 4 allies in play. A couple make the calls, so either I'm getting allies back into the deck or I'm pulling them out of the discard pile. And then, yeah, we'll get a lot of use out of command team to really, we want to just use our allies over and over and over. We don't mind if they use up their activations and go to the discard pile, because then we can just shuffle them right back in. 2 copies of Leadership Skill, just because it's a really efficient card. You get basically 3 instances of +1 thwart or +1 attack for only 1 cost. So this is a really good card if you're going to be running a lot of allies. I have 2 copies of Meditation. Since I'm going to be an Alter Ego, I might as well take advantage of that. And that'll help us pay for some of our expensive cards. And like I said, Wasp's economy is pretty terrible. So we have Ingenuity, a Helicarrier, Avengers Mansion, and then 5 resource cards, Power in All of Us, band together, because we should always have at least a couple allies in play, and then the 3 doubles. So I am running a little bit of a risk. I'm running quite a few resources. So there is a chance I could end up with hands I can't do much with because I draw too many resources, but the hope is because I have so many card draw allies and I can recycle them, I should be able to always pair up resources with something to spend them on. But there is a bit of a risky element to my deck. There's a chance there's 1 or 2 too many resource cards in there. But that is what we are here to find out. So all I have left to do is shuffle up my deck, and then we can do the rest of the campaign setup. All right, hopefully that's going to be good enough. So we got that ready to go. Now we still need to draw our opening hand and do our mulligan, and then we can finish the campaign setup. So drawing into Professor X, wow, that makes me happy. Leadership Skill, Ironheart, hopefully we get a little bit of resources, or a Meditation, I will take that. A Wasp Sting, and Nick Fury. Well, we can always use Meditation and Wasp Sting to pay for Nick Fury. We'll draw enough cards for us to be able to play the Professor. You know what? I'm just going to hold on to all of these, actually. This is a pretty good start. This is pretty close to what I was hoping to see, depending on what we draw with Nick anyway. So we're just going to hold on to all 6 of those cards. Now, we finished the campaign instructions. It tells us to put the public outcry environment into play. So we've got that here. If you've played Sinister Motives, you've seen this before. It has 3 counters on it, and after a minion or side scheme is defeated, you remove a counter from it. And until we do get rid of this, we're going to be having a hazard. Now it says expert mode. I honestly don't know if that's referring to the expert campaign or the expert villain, but I'll play it as if it's the expert villain. So that comes in with 3 counters on it. And then we have to shuffle the Smear Campaign, Treachery, into the encounter deck. And then we also have to choose a campaign side scheme from the Sinister Motives campaign. So we've got Smear Campaign here that's going to go into the deck. We might be seeing that later. And then there are 5 side schemes, and we need to choose one at random. And we get the Henchman Heist. And this will go into the encounter deck as well. So we'll get this shuffled, and then we'll finally be ready to play. All right, that should do it. Ready to start. Well, we're just going to start out with the plan I said. We're going to play Meditation to exhaust my Alter Ego to play a card from my hand, reducing its resource cost by 3. So we'll exhaust Nadia, and we'll also discard a Wasp Sting to bring out Nick Fury. We're going to use him to draw 3 cards. Getting a Pim Particles, a Rapid Growth, and another Pim Particles. Well, I know I said I wanted to stay in Alter Ego, but this hand really wants me to flip up to hero form. So I guess I'm going to. So before I do, I need to decide if I want to shuffle these back into the deck. And we don't need Wasp Sting right now. but I wouldn't mind seeing meditation again. So let's go ahead and get that shuffled in. All right, and I need to remember I actually want to start using tokens for exhausting to try to keep my board. I want to start making my boards look a little nicer. And there are very nice third-party tokens out there you can buy, but I run Get Up in Game on a shoestring budget, so instead I was looking through my board games to find something that had green and red tokens, and my wife remembered that Istanbul does, so a big thanks to her. So I'll be using Istanbul tokens, at least for the time being, as ready and exhaust tokens. So now I'm going to flip into tiny form. And now we need to take a look at how Taskmaster works, because his whole thing is he punishes you for changing to hero form and also for staying in hero form. So if we can spend a lot of time in Alter Ego, that should actually work very well against Taskmaster. And he says, after a player changes to hero form, they discard the top card of the encounter deck and take damage equal to the number of boost icons on that card. So we just flip to hero form and we're taking 2 damage. Well, there goes our obligation. Wasp starts at 11, so we're going down to 9. But now that I'm in tiny form, I can use these 2 pin particles that are just wild resources, but if you spend them in tiny form, you get to draw a card. So I'll use both of those to bring out Ironheart, who's also going to let me draw a card. So I'm actually going to be drawing 3 cards. So we get Strength, another leadership skill. You can only have one of these on the table at a time. And a Power in All of Us. So we have got plenty of money. I do need to remember that Wasp is actually exhausted from that meditation. We're going to use the Power in All of Us and one of the leadership skills to bring out Professor X. And he is going to confuse Taskmaster for us. So we'll be able to flip back down next turn. Gonna move this encounter card over here, bring my allies together. I'm gonna use this rapid growth to bring out leadership skill. It's gonna have 3 counters on it. And whenever I use an ally to attack or thwart, I can simply remove one of these counters to add +1 to it. And I'm probably just gonna end up holding this strength in my hand until next turn. Well, now that we have a full board of allies already, let's see if we can't get something done here. We're going to go ahead and use Professor X to thwart away the Hydra Patrol. It says that when it's defeated, we have to search the encounter deck and discard pile for a Hydra minion and put it in play engaged with us. And if you've played Taskmaster, you know that you just go get a Reggie. Yeah, there he is. The Hydra regular. He has Insight 1, but he's not revealed, so he won't put any threat on the main scheme. And we'll just set him right there. And since we defeated a side scheme, we get to take a counter off of Public Outcry. Next, we'll just go ahead and use Nick to punch this Hydra regular for 2, taking him right off the board, removing another counter from Public Outcry. I wish I had one more target to get rid of the thing, but it looks like we're definitely going to end up with an extra encounter card no matter what we do here. And I could have Ironheart remove that 1 threat from the main, but I just don't think it's worth using her activation for that right now. We'll have Nick to block, or the Professor, either one really. So I think that will be that. So we ready everything up. I'm already absolutely loving using these tokens. I've been stubbornly refusing to go to tokens for a long time, just because I really do enjoy just the actual physical nature of rotating the cards, tapping the cards, exhausting the cards. I just think it's fun. Been doing it for a very long time, but I do want my videos to start looking nicer, and that is a very easy change to make. So going to the end of our turn, we're going to hold on to strength. Hopefully we can find something to pay for with it. Now make the call. That'll help us get somebody back. Moon Girl, there she is. An Avengers Mansion. Okay, we definitely have things to pay for. And Goliath, all kinds of things to pay for. Okay. So when we're going into the villain phase, we need to remember that if you're in hero form during step 1 of the villain phase here, when you put threat on here, you also either have to put threat there or take damage. And Taskmaster doesn't have any special abilities. So let's just go ahead and do that. So we're putting 1 threat on hunting down heroes, and then I either need to put another one or take a damage. Well, since I shouldn't be getting attacked too much, since I'm hoping to be an alter ego, I'm going to go ahead and take the damage, going down to 8. I think threat is going to be the more important thing to manage. So that's how we're going to handle that. And then Taskmaster is attacking us. We're going to go ahead and put Nick Fury in front of that one. So he's attacking us for 2 plus 0, which is just enough to nick out. But unfortunately, we have our card from the beginning, our regular card, and then the card from Public Outcry. And hopefully we get at least 1 minion or side scheme so that we can get rid of this thing. Let's find out. We're getting Master Plan. Well, there's going to be our side scheme, so we have to go find one. Hopefully we get one of those very nice Captured by Hydras. Well, there goes Smear Campaign and an advance. That's nice. Oh, yep. So we're getting Captured by Hydra. This is how you get the Captive Heroes for Hire from Taskmaster. So that comes into play. We got to shuffle these up and tuck one under there. And then if we can remove the 5 threat from it, we'll get a free ally added to our hand, which is one of the things that makes Taskmaster usually relatively easy, but I very hesitate to say that because that's what I said in my 12 Plays of Christmas, and he was not easy at all. But we were also playing aggression, and we were not able to clear any of the side schemes to get the allies, so they weren't that helpful. The next card is Hunted by Hydra. Ugh, I hate this card. Insight 1, so it puts a threat on the main scheme, and then we're going to have to discard a card at random and take a damage. So we take a damage at going down to 7, and we're going to lose a card, which is really a shame. Please don't be Moon Girl. See, this is what happens. Every time I say something bad about Taskmaster, he punishes me. I just need to stop. Taskmaster, you are a very respectable villain. You're difficult. You're so challenging. You're harder than Ronan. I'm so sorry. Please stop discarding my Moon Girls. Okay, so that's that card. And then still have one more. It is Mimicry. Discard the top 5 cards of your deck. If an attack card was discarded this way, he's going to attack us. So we're losing 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If any of these are attacks, which they are not, which is actually pretty surprising because Wasp has a lot of attack events. So we kind of lucked out there, but I wouldn't have really minded because we had another blocker, so it would have been fine. We did lose our band together. That's too bad. Okay, well, that was awful. We got through it, though. Professor goes away. We lost Moon Girl. That really hurt because that was basically just going to be 3 more cards right back in our hand. We're going to make it work. Need to put 5 threat on Captured by Hydra. Well, I kind of have an interesting choice to make here. I could either just make the call and bring Nick back out, draw 3 more cards, and go about my day. But I would like to go to Alter Ego since Tasky's confused, and that would be kind of a waste of Nick being available to block. So instead, I could just play this Avengers Mansion, kind of keep setting up, flip down, shuffle some cards back in, and then just hope to draw them and play them in the near future. And I think that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, we're just going to get the mansion down with these 4 resources, get that into play. Well, but if I bring Nick out, I could clear the Captured by Hydra. Yeah, you know what? I changed my mind. No, I'm not. I think it would be smarter to play Make the Call, these 4 resources, bring Nick back out, because we do want to get rid of that side scheme so we can get rid of Public Outcry. I think that's more important. So we'll go ahead and play Nick. I'm going to draw 3 cards. We get Genius, Beast, and Red Room Training. So now what we can do is we can have Nick thwart for 2 off of this, bring it down to 3, and then we can have Ironheart thwart it, and we're going to spend a leadership skill to bumper thwart up to 2, which is going to reduce this to 1. And then we'll just have Wasp finish it off. So we're going to see who we get. Now, when you clear these, they do get removed from the game, so they don't go back into the encounter deck. And we're going to be adding Shang-Chi to our hand. After you play Shang-Chi from your hand, spend a lightning resource, stun an enemy. So he's a 0-cost ally, but then they all have a kicker that if you pay a certain resource when they go into play, you get a really cool effect. So now we have access to him. What we don't have, unfortunately, is a lightning resource to get that stun. That would have been so awesome. But that does clear the public outcry, thankfully, so that's also removed from the game, goes to the victory display. Nick and Ironheart each take a damage. And because Wasp finished off that side scheme, her ability Small But Mighty triggers. After Wasp or an event you play defeats a minion or side scheme, deal 1 damage to the villain. So, we've drawn first blood. Taskmaster is down to 15. I think since we can't make a best use of Shang-Chi right now anyway, we're just going to use him as a resource along with these others to go ahead and bring Beast into play. When he comes into play, you can search your deck or discard pile for a resource card and add it to your hand. I'm just going to go ahead and grab... did we already see? Oh yeah, we already saw the band together. Just going to go ahead and grab that and hold on to it. Yeah, there it is. Hold on to it till next turn. And then we are going to use Beast along with another leadership skill to just clear all the threat from the main scheme. We just really want to keep that down. Once we're fully set up, we'll start worrying about attacking Taskmaster. And since I have Nick, even though he's confused, I guess I will stick around in hero form for one more turn. Not sticking to my game plan here, but it just seems like the best way to handle things. So, ready everything up. Gonna hold on to band together. Draw Maria, nice. Pinpoint strike. Well, maybe we'll do some damage before we flip down. Meditation and a command team. All right, now we're starting to roll. Going into the villain phase, we have the one threat here, and then I can either take a damage or add another threat. I think I'm gonna go ahead and remove the threat because I should be able to easily take care of that. And now Tasky is attacking. We're going to put Nick in front of it. So he's attacking for 2 plus 2 more. It's enough to take him out. And thankfully we only have the one encounter card this time to deal with. And it is a Hydra Soldier. So when we defeat him, we're going to get another encounter card. And he does have guard. I think we can live with that. Back to our turn. We're going to start out by discarding Command Team and Meditation to bring out Maria Hill. And that is going to let us draw a card into another resource. Now that we have 3 allies, we're going to use Band Together for 3 wild resources to play Pinpoint Strike. Deal 7 damage to an enemy, but if you're in tiny form, you deal an additional damage and it gains Overkill. Wasp's attack events are awesome. They are among the best in the game. So she's basically going to do 8 damage because she is in tiny form. We're going to attack the Hydra Soldier. So 4 is going to go to the Hydra Soldier. 4 is going to spill over to Taskmaster. But because Wasp defeated him in tiny form, we get another damage with the Small But Mighty. So she essentially did 9 damage with Overkill for 3, which is better than your, average swinging web kick and all that. So just really, really solid. And that does get us an encounter card because that's what happens when you cut the head off of a Hydra Soldier. 2 more take its place. In this case, only 1, but you get what I'm saying. Now, I definitely do plan on flipping down. So we're just going to use Maria to clear the main scheme. She'll take a damage for that. I'm really having to wire my brain because by putting the token on her to exhaust her, my brain is thinking I already put the damage on her. I have to keep reminding myself. For example, I'm pretty sure Beast should have a damage on him. Sorry about that. Putting these tokens on is making me forget to put the damage on. And I'm going to use Beast to attack Taskmaster for 2, bringing him down to 8. And we're going to go ahead and hold on to Ironheart. We're going to need her as a blocker eventually, probably. And then we're going to flip down to Alter Ego, and we're going to exhaust to recover. So going up to 10. We're going to shuffle 2 cards back in. And definitely Genius and probably the Professor. We definitely want to keep those confuses rolling. The other option would be, you know what? It's got to be Moon Girl. You always got to put Moon Girl back in. We can put the Professor back in next turn. So we're going to shuffle her back in. We're going to hold on to this energy because it'll probably be useful, and then draw Ant-Man, a command team. There she is, Moon Girl. If we get the Genius along with her, make the call. Come on, Genius. Ah. Well, that didn't work out. Oh well. All right, going into the villain phase, we put 1 on the main scheme, and now since we're not in hero form, we don't have to make the choice about damage or threat. Now Taskmaster wants to scheme, but he's confused. And we are going to have 2 cards though. So first one is Caught Off Guard. Discard an upgrade or support. Well, that's going to take our leadership skill, but at least we got a couple counters off of it. And, oh, Electro finally shows up here with the Power Drain side scheme. So it's going to come in with 2 threat as an acceleration, and when we defeat it, you have to discard 2 cards from the encounter deck and discard resources from your hand based on the number of boost icons. Yikes. Definitely want to spend your cards before you clear that thing. Comes in with 2. Oh, really, that wasn't too bad at all. What are we going to do? Well, I do have a make the call, so I could just bring the professor in that way, or Nick. So that's one option. Or I have a better plan. I forgot to ready my people. Still getting used to the tokens. What I am going to do, we are going to have Beast. Just go ahead and hit Taskmaster for 2, knocking him down to 6. That is going to take Beast out. Goes to our discard pile. And we'll do a make the call along with these 4 resources. Just bring him right back out. And when he enters play, we get to go get a resource card. We'll grab that Genius that we had hoped to draw. Now we'll use Ironheart to just take that 1 off the main, I guess. I don't want to clear Power Drain because I don't want to discard cards from my hand. So yeah, we're just going to keep that threat nice and low. And now that we have room for another ally, we'll use these 3 as mental resources to play Moon Girl to draw 3 cards. Ingenuity, Wasp Sting, and a Helicarrier. Nice. We'll just go ahead and use these 2 to get Ingenuity on the table while we're in Alter Ego and a Genius. And now, we're going to go ahead and shuffle 2 back in. We'll get Genius. And now I think we will get Professor X back in there. See, this is why I love Wasp so much. Getting to shuffle those cards back in, seeing powerful effects like Professor X over and over. Even if the only thing you ever shuffle back in is Genius, it basically gives her access to more double resources than other heroes just because she can keep getting Genius back over and over again. It's an absolute blast. So we're set up super well. Got a nice table of allies. We've got our Ingenuity finally. Taskmaster's pretty well under control. Now that we have no resources in our hand, we're going to go ahead and use Moon Girl to clear away the Power Drain. So when defeated, we have to discard 2 cards from the encounter deck, and we would have had to discard 4 resources from our hand, and we lose 2 captured by Hydras. That's sad. So we definitely want to rescue as many of the captive heroes as we can. I honestly don't know what's going to happen in the campaign, but I assume that by including Taskmaster, G.I.R.L probably is going to let us get to keep those allies like it does in Red Skull. So at least we have Shang-Chi, but it would be nice if we could get at least a couple more. Though it's not looking good because there's a lot of encounter deck left. So I highly doubt we're going to reshuffle, and I'm not going to wait around for it. Now Moon Girl does take 2 consequential damage for that. Beast is just going to keep smacking Taskmaster around for 2 more. And then I just have to decide if I want to go to hero form or not. He's not confused, but there's plenty of room on the main, and I don't know if there's a good reason to flip up. We're just going to take damage. Yeah, I don't see any reason to go to hero form. I'm just going to recover for 1, and we're going to call it there. So drawing 6, Oh, we have one left. That's nice. We don't end up with an extra card. Command team, the Professor, Genius, and a whole bunch of damage. All right. This should be pretty easy. That gets 1. Taskmaster is scheming for 2. Plus, if you're in hero form, take a damage. Otherwise, place a threat on the main scheme. So he's getting another threat. So basically scheming for a total of 3. And then we just have 1 card, which is a Hydra regular. It does have insight. So that goes up to 5. Easy peasy. Well, to start us off, we're just going to have Moon Girl take 2 off of this, try to get that back down. She is going to go to our discard pile, which, as you know, is not very sad, because then we're going to use Genius and Rapid Growth, bring out the Professor, confuse Taskmaster, we'll just go ahead and shuffle Genius and Moon Girl right back into our deck. Pretty sure we'll be seeing them again soon. We use these 2 Pinpoint strikes to get a command team on the table. Professor is going to clear the main. Beast is going to take out the Hydra regular. And we're just going to stay put. I know I'm going to be drawing Genius and Moon Girl in my next hand, so I'm definitely not wanting to flip up. But we are moving to a point now that we're going to reshuffle. We're going to get Goliath out, and I think we're finally going to start doing some damage. So the deck is doing exactly what I wanted it to do. It's going really well. I can't use Nadia for anything. I don't need to recover. And I guess I could have used Ingenuity to help pay for the command team, but I don't really feel the need to save a Pinpoint strike. So that worked out fine. So yeah. One more just nice easy turn, and then we'll see if we can't start getting something else done. So we draw our Helmet, Genius, and Moon Girl. I promise in future plays I'll actually play Wasp's cards, but leadership with the way her alter ego power works is just, for me, is all about reshuffling the allies back in, just getting all this card draw, all this control. It's just, it's so solid. Plus you get to draw more cards, staying in alter ego. So yeah, there's Goliath. So we'll play Moon Girl. We'll be able to draw 3 off of that and then go from there. Okay, cool. So again, we're not in hero form, so we don't have to worry about all this stuff. He's confused. And we just have 2 cards. First one is a Lightning Bolt. When revealed, discard 2 cards from the encounter deck and take 1 indirect damage for each boost icon discarded this way. This card is incredibly scary. Like, this could be 0 or it could be 6 or even more. You know, some of the newer cards have 4 boost icons. This could almost kill you in one shot. So we're taking 3, see? Then 0. Okay, I was really scared there for a second. That was really not cool. So we go down to 8. Yeah, the potential for that card, that is just really swinging for the fences. Hopefully we don't flip another one. Oh, how about Shadow of the Past instead? Well, this is a Wasp showcase, so we wanted to see her nemesis at least once, right? Hopefully this doesn't happen every game. So we're getting Beetle. She comes in with Guard, and she's just a 1/1 with 4 health, and when you defeat her, you either have to pay a resource or she gets shuffled back in, which honestly is fine. We have Mother's Orders, 2-threat side scheme that does make you pay an extra resource for doing a basic attack. And then we just shuffle these 3 cards into the deck. I believe in my Nemesis rankings, I called Wasp's Nemesis set a shrug. It's really not that big of a deal. Side scheme's easy to remove. Beetle is easy to blow up with a Pinpoint strike. And you know, if she does get shuffled back in, that's fine. She's an easy card to reveal later. So that was that. Now we get to the fun part. Professor goes away at the end of the round. And now we get to use Ingenuity and Genius, pretty much the best way to pay for Moon Girl. Draw 3 cards, we pay 3 mentals. Getting a leadership skill, nice. Another command team, and the wings. Well, we're just going to use Moon Girl to hit Beetle for 2. Command Team to ready her up. And then do it again. It's going to knock Beetle out. We are not going to pay the punch. And that is going to be all of Moon Girl's inconsequential damage. I just didn't feel like putting it on her since I knew she was just knocking herself out. So she goes back to the discard pile, where she will get shuffled right back in with Genius. Love it. I think we're just going to go ahead and bring out 2 more command teams. Why not? We're going to hold on to Goliath for next turn. We're going to start moving into kill mode here in a minute. Mother's Orders is literally doing nothing, so we're just going to leave that there. And let's see if he has any extra schemes left in his deck. So we've seen one of the mimicries and one of the advances. So he still has quite a bit of potential scheming left. So I am going to go ahead and use Maria just to take that one off there, just to be as safe as possible. And that is going to be that. So just maintaining absolute control here from Nadia's desk back at wherever she has a desk. Gonna hold on to Goliath, draw Helicarrier, Rapid Growth, Pinpoint Strike, a Meditation, and Band Together. Nice. Well, we actually only have 1 ally. I was used to having more. I guess Band Together's nothing special right now. All right, putting 1 on the main scheme. Taskmaster is going to scheme for 2 plus 2 more. Well, there goes Beetle. So this is back up to 5. That's not great. And then we get, oh, he gets his shield. So he's going to have Retaliate, and we have to exhaust our hero and spend some resources to get rid of it. That's a good defense for him. That's going to monkey with our ally strategy for sure. But it's back to us. And we probably better plan to go to hero form because the threat's getting high and we don't have a confuse or a decent amount of threat removal, to be honest. So what we are going to do is exhaust Ingenuity as well as these 3 resources to go ahead and put Goliath into play. We are going to use his action to give him +4 attack until the end of the phase. Then we're going to attack with him, which is going to bring Taskmaster to 0. So when you knock out his first form, he goes to stage 3. He's going to get 17 hit points, and his power's the same, but we do get another encounter card. Goliath is going to take 2 consequential damage plus 1 more for the Retaliate, but thankfully that doesn't knock him out. So we can use one of our command teams to ready him up. He's going to go ahead and attack for 5 more. So Taskmaster went up to 17. Now he's going down to 12. And that will knock Goliath out. But he did 10 damage for us. And then we're going to shuffle him. And a Pinpoint Strike back in. We're definitely moving into damage mode at this point. Those are the cards we want to be seeing. And then we definitely need to deal with some of this threat. So we're going to have to go ahead and go into hero form, which means we're going to have to flip for damage. So let's do that now. We're going to flip to tiny form. And then we have to take 2 damage. So going down to 6. Then Wasp is going to exhaust to thwart, and then we're going to go ahead and play Rapid Growth. When you use one of your hero's basic powers, change to your giant form and get +2 to that power. So actually what I should have done, because you can do that from giant form, because this is going to cause me to flip twice, which means I'll have to take the damage again. There's no reason I could have just flipped to giant form to start. Well, yeah, I could have just gone straight to giant form. There was no reason to stop at tiny, so that would just be a very dumb thing to do, taking the extra damage. So I'm going to go ahead and fix that little there was no reason not to just go straight to giant form. So we're going to be thwarting for 4. Taking that off of there. Sorry about that little take back, but the only reason I did it that way is because I just forgot about Taskmaster's extra damage. Don't want to be flipping twice. So that is going to take the threat down. And we're going to hold on to Beast as a blocker. And that is going to be that. So we're drawing 5 cards. Meditation, Ironheart, Ant-Man, Nick, and Wasp Sting. So some damage. Taskmaster's at 12, but I don't know if I'm looking at 12 damage here. Going into the villain phase, this gets 1, and since we are in hero form, we have to decide an extra threat or an extra damage. I think right now it's going to be threat, bringing it up to 3. He is attacking. We're in a block with Beast, so it's going to be 3, 4, 5, 6. Whew. Really a lot of nasty boosts in this deck. We've seen a lot of high boost cards. And we have 2 cards. We're only at 6, so for as much control as we've been in the whole game, I still feel pretty nervous about the outcome here. So we're getting electromagnetic pulse. Discard 7 cards from the encounter deck. If Electro is this card this way, we're going to put him into play engaged with us. If not, it's going to surge. I can't remember if we've seen him or not. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is Electro in here? He is not. Okay, so that's going to surge. Oh gosh. Into what? Okay, Captured by Hydra. It's kind of a easy one. We can definitely live with that. I don't know if we'll have a chance to clear it before we win, but at least it's an easy card. Comes in with 5 threat. And he's going to scheme. Okay. He's scheming for 3, 4. Whew. Just like that, the main is up to 7. Oi. Okay, we are going to use Ingenuity and these 3 to bring Nick into play yet again. Drawing 3, we get Red Room Training, a Make the Call, and a Strength. Well,
eventually.
Alright, well, between the Retaliate from the Shield and Mother's Orders preventing me from making a basic attack, try as I might with all my resources and things at my disposal, I cannot figure out how to defeat Taskmaster this turn. I can get him down to 1, but I cannot figure out a way to kill him, so I'm going to have to play a little bit of a longer game here. And we're going to play Make the Call with 3 resources to go get Professor X, who is going to confuse Taskmaster, of course. And then he and Nick are going to thwart away this Captured by Hydra, which technically you're supposed to put one of these under it. I usually just shuffle and grab one when I clear the side scheme, but there should have been one under there. And we are going to get Electra. And after you play her from your hand, you can spend a punch resource to deal 3 damage to an enemy. Well, that's certainly interesting. These 2 take a damage. So now I can use a command team to ready the Professor, have him thwart away this stupid Mother's Orders. So that goes away. He takes another damage. I'm going to go ahead and play Electra, and when I play her from my hand, I did have 1 punch resource left over, so that will deal 3 damage to Taskmaster, and that is not an attack, so it does not get Retaliate. This command team goes away, which is good because I need the token for Electra. Now Electra is going to attack for 3, bringing him down to 6. She will take 2 damage, 1 from the Consequential, 1 from the Retaliate. We're going to ready her with this command team. And she's going to attack for 3 more, down to 3. That is going to knock her out. Now we can ready with this command team. How fun is it having 3 command teams in play? To ready Nick Fury. He's going to attack. Down to 1. That's going to knock him out. And then now that Mother's Orders is gone, can use Wasp to attack for 2 and finish him off. Nice. I sat here for a long time trying to figure out a way to kill him this turn. And the only thing I came down to is if the ally from Captured by Hydra helped us out, then maybe we could do it. So there we go. We got a win. We got our first win with Wasp on the channel. It makes me very happy. The deck did exactly what I wanted it to do. I got to play all my cool cards over and over and over again. The only thing about Wasp I showed was her alter ego, pretty much. But we'll see her other cards in other builds. This one was just all about recycling Nick, Moon Girl, Genius, Professor X. If the game were longer, or especially in multiplayer, you could just recycle the heck out of Goliath, and he could do a ton of damage for you. So yeah, that's what Wasp looks like in leadership for me anyway. Let's find out what happens when we win in the campaign. So we go to victory in the reputation track, which I have printed out here. I have the other scenarios set aside, so I didn't see what they were. All right, I'm gonna need some room to write, actually. Let me move some stuff out of the way. Hopefully I don't need to know too much of this information. Okay, so the reputation track, which is this. Don't want to write on my playmat. Using the condition section, calculate your group's total reputation value, then mark that number of nodes, starting at the topmost and marking OK. So we have this list of conditions. Oh, you can't quite see it. We have these list of conditions down here. There's all these things we wanted to complete. And so we're going to get so many points based on how well we did. So we get plus X, which is victory points in the victory display. The Captured by Hydras don't go to the victory display, but the public outcry did. So we got 1 victory point from that. So we get 1 point for that. There's no minions in play. Yep, so we get 1 point for that. No side schemes, so that's 3. No threat on the main scheme. Well, that didn't happen, so that's up to 7. There are no acceleration tokens, and we did not lose. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we fill in 5 nodes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then now, I don't know if you can really see it, but there's like lines that connect to the different nodes, and then depending on which you fill in, it changes things. So from the first one, we're going to choose 1 state of emergency side scheme at random, and we're going to write it down. All right, let me find those. All right, so here we have the side schemes from the state of emergency modular encounter set, and we are going to choose 1 at random. We get the Feisty Heist, and so that gets written down in the state of emergency section of the campaign log. So probably just start filling this in. Player's 1 identity is Wasp. Don't have to worry about remaining hit points because we're just doing standard. In the state of emergency, we have the Feisty Heist. All right, what else? So we get to deal 3 of the campaign shield tech upgrades at random, and we're gonna grab 1 of those for the rest of the campaign. So I've got all of these right here. So we are gonna grab 3 at random. And, oh, they're double-sided. I guess I just won't look. And sure. So we're gonna take the top 3 here. So we could have the laser goggles, which give us -1 fort and +1 attack with overkill. The compact darts that after your hero attacks, you remove a counter to deal damage, and then alter ego, you can put dart counters on there. That's pretty cool. Or the wrist navigator is after minion size scheme enters play, attach this to it, and when it's defeated, you draw a card. Oh, I do like drawing cards. Yeah, I think we're gonna go with the wrist navigator. So we're gonna add that to our shield tech.
I have the handwriting of a child. All right.
And then, so now we're going to need to know that at setup, we're going to be shuffling the state of emergency. So we're going to be shuffling the feisty heist in. We're going to get to start with the thingy. And then we got 5 points. So we are going to get an extra mulligan. That's nice. That's just more cards I can dump into my discard pile to potentially shuffle back in. But we are going to be starting with an extra threat on the main scheme. Well, okay. So those things are happening. What else does it say? Oh, that was the... Here we go. Each player rescue one or more allies from the Taskmaster encounter set. Adds those to their deck. Nice, nice. I figured. So we got Electra and Shang-Chi.
Electra and Shang-Chi. All right.
If a campaign community service side scheme is a victory display, it is not. We just didn't get it. If we chose investigative journalism, we did not. We chose blackout. So we record fears and doubts on line 1 of the crime wave section.
I can play Rock and Horror here. Fears and doubts.
And brute force on line 2.
All right. Looking forward to finding out what these mean.
And then we don't care about our hit points. And it says we'll be proceeding to scenario 2B. Well, let's go ahead and find out at least who the villain is. So 2A would have been Rhino. And so 2B is going to be, oh, Mysterio. Nice. I love Mysterio. Okay, I'm not going to look at anything else. I will build a deck knowing that I'm facing Mysterio, but beyond that, I'm not going to have any more information. I don't want to know any more than I have to. So there we go. That was game 1. Go team. I don't yet know which aspect I want to play Mysterio in, so I'm just going to have to think about it and build a deck, but that was a really fun start. It's always a good time fighting Taskmaster. Always a good time playing Wasp and leadership and getting to do all the things I just did. So I want to thank you very much for joining me. I hope that was fun for you. And we're going to try to get to game 2 as soon as we can. So until then, I just look forward to seeing you next time we get up in game. Take care, folks. Bye-bye. Hello. It always takes me a couple tries, okay?
Hello. There's like a midnight DJ.
Hello, and welcome back.